Do you fancy a musical, melee combat-filled adventure that spans 50 years and 5 cities? Well, you need to know about Stranger Than Heaven. Let's start with the basics. What is Stranger Than Heaven actually about? The new game from the developers of Yakuza and Like a Dragon begins in 1915, and it stars a man named Makoto. He's half American, half Japanese, and he's decided that he's had it with the whole Yankee Doodle scene, so he hops on a ship to Japan, where he meets a smuggler named Orpheus, who's played by rapper and herb enthusiast Snoop Dogg. Now, here's where things get really interesting, in case that wasn't already weird enough. Stranger Than Heaven follows Makoto across 5 decades of his life as he moves between 5 different Japanese cities, each acting as its own distinct locale: Kokura, Hiroshima, Osaka, Atami, and Tokyo. The 5 locations offer a diverse range of settings, from seedy industrial areas to lush countrysides and thriving cities. And we'll also get to watch Japan evolve around Makoto as we move from one decade to the next. And we also spotted some card game-based side activities to get up to as well. And watching Makoto's relationships evolve over time promises to be just as fascinating. You're going to start off as Orpheus's sidekick before building a full identity of your own, and you'll also meet a fellow named Yu Shinjo, who quickly becomes your best friend and then quickly becomes not your best friend at all. I mean, I don't have the full tea just yet, but there is definitely drama. In fact, drama might be the key word here, because while recent Like a Dragon games have leaned into the wackier side of the series, amnesiac pirate Captain Goro, yeah, looking at you, pal, Stranger Than Heaven looks like a much grittier, more grounded sort of story. That said, Ryu Ga Gotoku have confirmed that the Tojo clan also does sprout up during this period, which means that Stranger Than Heaven takes place in the same wide, weird world as the Yakuza games. Oh, and the Italian mafia also apparently has a role to play here, so you know what, it's just a big win for fans of sharply dressed crime syndicates all round. Another thing that Stranger Than Heaven has in common with the Yakuza games is a big emphasis on brawling. Except it works quite differently here. Let me show you. In combat, the shoulder and trigger buttons are used to control each of Makoto's limbs, so right bumper controls his right hand, right trigger controls his right leg, and the same goes for the other side. It basically takes the core idea behind Tekken's control scheme and just runs with it, presumably by hitting right trigger, then left trigger, then right trigger, then left trigger. You get the idea. It's a really innovative approach, which makes for a highly tactical, fairly realistic fight as you and your opponent try to read each other's body language and figure out what to throw next. And yet, weapons are in the mix too, with a variety of bladed and blunt implements that can be upgraded to provide certain buffs. The material that they're made from also affects how powerful the weapon is, so, you know, getting bonked on the head with a sledgehammer made of oak, yeah, that's bad. But getting bonked on the head with a sledgehammer made of steel is very, very bad. Honestly, if all Stranger Than Heaven had going for it was this new combat system, it'd still be well worth checking out. But there's also a whole other side to its gameplay. Because while our boy Makoto is pretty good with his fists, he is all about the music. That's right, Makoto is on his way towards musical superstardom, and you're going to help him get there. It's like A Star Is Born, only with more knife fights. As you're wandering the world, Makoto is going to find inspiration in all sorts of everyday things, with coloured bubbles popping up whenever the sound of a bird chirping or a person sweeping gives him the idea for a sweet new song. And these eureka moments are accompanied by a sweet little finger-snapping motion. And even the sounds of your enemy's weapons can provide the creative spark you need. Although, hopefully in that situation, Makoto knows to stop snapping and start swinging. Once Makoto has memorized the sound, it gets added to a catalog, which players can then use to compose their own music. You get to set the rhythm and the bass and all that clever music-y stuff, record the whole shebang, and boom, you're on the road to musical superstardom. It's that easy. But Makoto is no one-man band, because once his musical career starts in earnest and it's time to start playing shows, well, you guys are going to need to recruit other musicians to play alongside him. And that means choosing the songs, deciding who plays each instrument, and even putting up posters so that, you know, people know that there's a show going on. The whole thing is kind of pointless if you don't do that bit. Music is a major way of making money in the game, a major part of the game's story, and it's just yet another thing that makes Stranger Than Heaven feel just a bit different than anything else. And as if all that wasn't enough, there is one more reason to get seriously excited about Stranger Than Heaven. It's coming day one to Xbox Game Pass this winter. Yeah, you knew I was going to say it, come on. So make sure you subscribe and ring the bell to hear all about the upcoming Game Pass titles like Stranger Than Heaven, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye!